And here again Abakan. I am flying, tempted by my own curiosity with the instruction of readers, who took to heart everything that was told about the Lykov family last year, with the instruction, be sure to go there, we are waiting. And my companions again Agafia and another Voronezh countryman, the head of the Kakasha Forest Management Nikolai Nikolaevich Zabushkin, flying partly out of curiosity, partly at my request, connected with the life of the Robinsons. The weather is bad. The helicopter glides along the canyon, following the bends of the Wayward River. The closer you get to the source, Abakan gets near, and more often you see heaps of logs along the riverbed. Now the cheeks are two tall stone walls, between which water flows elastically. Turn from the river uphill, and we are already over the familiar swamp. Just like last year, we throw bags from a hovering helicopter, and then jump ourselves. A hand sign to the pilot. And the familiar world of life, along with the dying roar, disappears. We find a path from the swamp, we go along it for about 40 minutes. By coincidence, the same July day as the last parish. But the beginning of this summer was cold. And where we saw berries, now there are flowers. Belatedly smells of bird cherry. The potatoes in the Lykovsky garden have just turned green. A strip of rye shyly turns blue. Peas, carrots, beans. Everything was almost a month late. Slowing down near the hut, changes? Absolutely none. As of yesterday we were standing under this eater. The same watchful cat on the roof. The same dibber bird flies over the foamy stream. My forgotten sneakers with red rubber soles lie under the tree. This time we did not have to call out to the owners. They saw our arrival in the window. Both, like large gray mice, trotted out of the dark hole towards Agafia, Vasily Mikhailovich. Sincere joy, such that one should even embrace. But no, the greeting is the same. Two palms folded together near the chest in a bow. And immediately both wanted to appear before the guests in an unattractive state. Karp Osipovich immediately, throwing off his felt boots, put on rubber boots, then dived through the door, returning in a blue, rumpled, but clean shirt, and, taking out from under the roof, put on one of 3 felt hats strung on top of each other, delivered by someone of generous donors. From the beard the old man took out a couple of straws, and gave it with 2 fingers the look appropriate for the occasion. Meanwhile, Agafia put on outside the door in a maroon robe up to her feet, changed her kerchief, and also put on rubber boots. A red carpet of hospitality in the form of last year's rye straw was prepared for us in the hut. The tight, smoky kennel noticeably brightened from this. And even the air in her felt better. The owners fully understood this. They were pleased to call us under the roof. Agafia was clearly expecting praise. And she accepted it gratefully, grinning like a child at the tip of the handkerchief given last summer. This time I brought them, mainly what our compassionate readers sent for transmission to a dead end. Woolen socks, fabric, stockings, tights, a raincoat, a blanket, a shawl, mittens, sneakers. Everything was accepted with gratitude, with a request to write off for mercy to all good people. Agafia advised not to carry products except cereals. They took the groats. This is rice, Agafia said, looking into the bag. And this is tsio? This, I say, is also rice, of a different sort, Vietnamese. Tyatya, look, rice, and the wonderful one. Sticks, most of all. The old man was delighted with a bunch of 5 dozen solid candles and a flashlight. They managed to get used to candles here and already needed them. The flashlight at first aroused suspicion with its unusual glow. A typewriter, Agafia said, suspecting a camera in an iron box. The old man, on the other hand, was not afraid to touch the button, shone a light into the stove, under the bench, into the felt boot that stood near the bed, and, to our surprise, did not say the usual "this is not possible. God admonished me to think of such a thing. It's nice at night, once." And the last of our gifts was not accepted. One of the naive, or, perhaps, the cunning reader of the newspaper sent 10 money in an envelope. For the Lykovs. Tsio is a piece of paper. Agafia recoiled into the corner. Together we tried to explain what this piece of paper means. Worldly. The old man shone a flashlight on the top 10. Do mercy, hide, for us this is a sinful business. Such was the meeting. We had supper, we ate by the fire, surrounded by cats yearning for meaty smells. Agafia and her father were solemnly eating porridge made from Vietnamese rice by the candle. They listened to the advice to put the honey brought as a gift into the porridge. "Paradise food," said the old man, picking up a pinch of rice grains from his knees. "And for the belly, I feel a true holiday." Hearing complaints about the stomach, Nikolai Nikolaevich and Agafia sang a hymn to honey and milk at the same time. "No, no," agreed the old man sadly. But suddenly he started up. "Imanik, goat, can, go, helicopter sidey." But he himself stopped a sudden outburst of fantasy. "Imanaka, and you need a goat ash, without a goat what kind of milk?" The conversation in the evening was mainly about how they lived since last year, how they spent the winter, and everything concerned food, clothing, warmth. The potatoes were good last year, but in the first days of September snow fell. "We went to the geologists, asked for help. Those came immediately. They chose all the potatoes, 250 buckets. They also collected 30 buckets of turnips and radishes, 5 buckets of rye, a bag of peas in pods, and carrots. In autumn, at the risk of catching a cold, the old man fished and got 2 buckets of grayling. But for the first time they lived completely without meat. The old dried stock, made by Dmitri, came out, and new one could not be made. Agafia alerted 3 trapping pits, but nothing was caught. The winter, according to the old man, was not good, wet, long. Sitting only on nuts, potatoes, rye stew, turnips and radish, the fish ran out in January. They felt the Velma. In March, knowing that no fish could be caught at this time, the old man nevertheless went down to the river and spent a week near the water with a fishing rod, catching one random fish a little larger than a palm. Appearing in the settlement of geologists, the taiga firmly, however, adhered to their prohibitions. No bread, no meat, no fish, no porridge, no sugar. You can't. That's all. And yet the first small step towards the forbidden has been taken. Agafia and the cook persuaded them to take, in addition to salt, a bag of cereal. Relations with God in the taiga hut because of buckwheat, apparently, did not become complicated. In the next parish they were not stubborn, they took millet and pearl barley. Then Agafia introduced them to rice. Agafia looked healthier now than last summer, although she continually complained of pain in her arm. Her face turned from a powdery white to a dark brown. "Do you like carrots?" I asked, testing the assumption about carotene. She smiled. Understood as a hint, ran with birch bark dishes into the cellar. Karp Isipovich has noticeably passed over the year. He hunched over, began to speak more quietly. You can hear him only sitting 2 or 3 steps away. Concerned about the views of the taiga and garden crops. Potatoes did not promise to be abundant. But this year there is a good harvest in cedars. But also concerned. How to make a nut? I can't climb a cedar anymore. Agafia is afraid. How will the hand become numb? To beat with a stab? Previously, they did not beat, they took care of the cedars, but now there is no strength to punch. Agafia encourages, "We will help." The old man, accustomed to life autonomy, accepts help as a tolerable extreme. But this extreme grows in his sight, becomes inevitable. And what can you do? In the evening prayer, he remembered Agafia and health, and his children, and many people from the world, from whom he was buried and without whom, now it is clear, he would not have lasted long. After the conversation with God, the old man changed the guest shirt for a shabby one, took off his boots, and, groaning, settled himself on the grass bed by the stove. Agafia also fell silent in her corner. I ask you to share these videos in your social networks, using the buttons under the video and subscribe to the channel. I ask you to go and watch other videos about Agafia Lykova, which you now see on the screen in the end screensavers.